What is going on, everyone? It's live stream time. I did say I wasn't going to do too many of these pre-season, and to be fair, I've stuck to that. But the people ask, the people get. People have been asking for a live stream. Here it is. There's a bit more to talk about now. We're still obviously waiting for pre-season to get towards the end. What we really want to see is the last game of pre-season to get an idea of lineups. But Mourinho's coming out saying Martial and Sanchez are going to start up front. Of course, we haven't got very many players left once Lukaku and Rashford are out. So there's news to consider. Alisson looks like he's going to Liverpool. Looks like Courtois might go to Real Madrid. Possibly Schmeichel to Chelsea. Which would just make FPL pretty boring when it comes to goalkeepers. But plenty of news to talk about. Have to also mention, after saying on the last stream that the plan was to get to 10,000 subscribers by the start of the season, which is 12, just got to do some maths live on air, 23 days away I think. We're already way past that, so thank you to everyone that subscribed recently. Growth has been ridiculous actually, the start of the season. So we're up to 10,639, so we're over 600 more than I wanted 23 days in advance, so who knows what's going to happen over the next few weeks. I'm actually away soon, next week in fact, so there'll definitely be no streams next week, but they will be coming, I won't say thick and fast, but they'll be more common in the kind of at least the last week running up to FPL. And the plan is to record some videos to have going out maybe every couple of days once I'm away, so there's still stuff on the channel, stuff that I've researched and want to talk about, but obviously I won't be around to kind of answer questions and stuff, and I've kind of been told by the missus that, button open or button not open? I don't know. Stream and make videos as much as you want this week. Just don't go near your phone next week. So, we'll see what happens. If there's big FPL news, will I be able to stick away from my phone? I don't know. Anyway, housekeeping. What else? 10,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, make sure you hit like on the stream. Be much appreciated. And obviously, if you are new around here, hit subscribe. There's also 5 polls, so if you click in the little eye in the top right hand corner of the screen, or if you tap on an iPad or whatever you're watching on, there's 5 polls there, which are tonight. These are all obviously requested by you guys on Twitter. So current formation that you're going for, how many 10 million plus players are you starting with, which goalkeeper option, will you use your wildcard early, and how many premium defenders, because premium defenders are being talked about a lot, and this happens every year. 4 or 5 at the back formations become kind of popular on Twitter and within the FPL community. This early on in the season, because we're quite far away. We still don't know how to get in all the premium midfielders and strikers that we want. So we look at the back for value. But I feel like this year it's being talked about more in a way that people might stick with it. Now 5 at the back I think is not going to happen for most people, but 4 at the back, 2 or 3 premium defenders, it could happen. So it'd be interesting to see how people vote on that right now. First time watching live after following all your videos. Good man, Harry. Hope you enjoy it. Stick around, hit that like button. Still remember your quote last season around this time. You said on the Scoutcast, if you've not started planning for FPL yet, you're already screwed. Yeah, near enough. You don't need to have a concrete plan in place right now, but it's nice to at least know your structure so you can start filling it in with players once we know a bit more, I think. What else? Oh yeah, Patreon. So I launched Patreon, I don't know, sometime this week. I kind of launched it actually quite late one night, just because I had it finished and the video recorded. First things first, no live streams are going away. There'll still be the same amount of live streams, which for anyone that's new around here, it's usually once before the game week starts, usually on a Thursday, and then once when it ends, which is usually Sunday or Monday. But it does depend. So no videos or live streams are going away. Got no plans to do extra ones for Patreon, but it's all on the page. Links in the description below. What I would say is anyone who's interested in supporting the stream and the channel in general, especially if you sponsor the YouTube channel, which I know who's in already. Matt's in already, Matt Higgins. if I was you, I would look at possibly dropping the sponsor on YouTube and looking at Patreon, because you at least get something back for that, whereas you don't really get anything for sponsoring the YouTube channel. Although I saw that you've been going for 9 months straight, so if you want to continue and get those months up, that's completely up to you. Obviously, I thank you for that, but I'd have a look at Patreon if that's something you're interested in. A few people already joined up, which I'm going to go through in a second because that's part of the deal. And the Discord channel's been up and running as well, so we've been chatting on there a bit. So I'm trying to get involved in the Discord channel as much as I can, but as I told the guys that signed up, obviously I've got a full-time job, other stuff to do, so I can't be in there 24/7 answering questions, but I'll be in there as much as I can. And right now, while it's still quite quiet, it's quite nice, there's not too many people. Yeah, Matt, it's all in the description below, so it's completely up to you if you want to change, but I just feel that it's probably better value for money. If you're going to do one, do that instead. So, last bit of housekeeping before we jump into the stream. I'll catch my breath back. These are the new Patreons so far. So Dean, I've not put full names. I meant to reach out to people to ask what names they want me to put up, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So no full names for obvious reasons. So Dean P and Machek, producer level Patreon status. Thank you very much for that. It's much appreciated. And then other new patrons as well this week is Bob K, Adrian K, Jonathan G, Michael L, Andrew H, Ian S, I think it is, and Scott B. So thank you very much for signing up so quick. Some people were signed up at less than an hour after I put the video out, so do really appreciate that. There's a mini league. There's going to be prizes. I've not ordered the mugs yet, but they're coming. So yeah, check it out. It's all in the description below, so I'm not going to mention it anymore probably tonight. So, moving on, let's check out my current team. As I said earlier, it's a bit kind of value hungry, mid-priced midfield, mid-priced striker. I'm going to reveal it now. Possibly the best draft you've seen today, but probably not because you've seen a million. So here we go. We're going to move over. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm all over the place because I feel like I've only done this is only second stream, still a bit rusty. Boom, quick fire. Look at this. I mean, who says you don't get production value on this stream? Patreon, boom. Quickfire, boom. So there'll be a 5-minute timer. We'll do quickfire questions. I don't know how often we'll do this pre-season because there's still so much you just can't answer. I don't want to sit here saying, let's wait for pre-season, let's wait for pre-season, let's wait for pre-season 10. But anyway, so we've got a 5 quickfire round and then back to the main screen with the chat on the screen. And this is my team currently, so let's be honest, am I going to stick with this going into Gameweek 1? Possibly not, but there's some players that are just not really leaving my team, 2 of which are Ramsey and Aubameyang, but the problem is they've got 2 hard fixtures to start, so I'm worried about having both of them. But Lamella scored a hat-trick in pre-season. Now, pre-season I wouldn't worry too much about in terms of goals, because I mean Everton smashed some team 22-0 who apparently were out drinking the night before, so there's not too much to pay attention to, I don't think, pre-season that wise. But it's very interesting to see where players play in terms of positioning. So I still need to check, is it Jota or Jota from Wolves? He played up front, but apparently didn't have too good a game. But it's interesting to know, got priced 6.5 million for Wolves and as a midfielder, and he played up front, so stuff like that's interesting. Obviously, the last team of pre-season will be the last team lineup for pre-season will be really good. So it's Jota. Okay, that makes more sense. That's what I would have guessed. You're man of the house. If you want to stream football, stream it. Don't know about that. Okay, yeah. So it's very. I don't know about this. I mean, double. The only reason I've got De Gea is because I suddenly had loads of money. I didn't really know where to upgrade. Had like 1 million. But to be honest, if what am I trying to say? If Schmeichel goes, and to be fair, there's not been a huge amount of news about it. The only reason people are putting 2 and 2 together is that Real Madrid want Courtois. There's a really good Belgian journalist that I follow, and that he knows. Basically, if he says something, I trust it. And he's not saying it's happening for sure, but he's basically said nothing's happening until Chelsea get a new goalkeeper. So it does sound like something's going to happen. Obviously, we know Real Madrid have wanted a keeper, David De Gea in particular. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. So It looks like Schmeichel's being touted because Leicester bought a new keeper. So I don't know. Schmeichel to Chelsea, I think that just makes it an automatic pick. 5 million for the Chelsea keeper. And a good keeper at that. You know, maybe he's not Courtois, but, you know, it just becomes guaranteed. So, got Mendy and Robertson in there as premium defender picks. And then Luke Shaw at 5 million. I think he's going to start the season. And I think I'm going to probably play an early wildcard this year. So, not too much back pocket chat for those that watched last year. And then, I still don't know how to pronounce this either. I think it's Van Bissaka. I don't know. One of those two, hopefully. He started a game for Crystal Palace, 4 million. So we'll see if he keeps playing in defence. And obviously, like I said at the start of the stream, Mourinho kind of said they've got to start with Mata, Sanchez and Martial as the attackers. We don't know whether Sanchez or Martial will play as the striker. I've got a feeling if they could decide between themselves, I think Sanchez would probably stick to the left and Martial would play up front. So we'll see if that happens. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's up to Mourinho. But Martial has got a pretty good point-scoring record when he actually plays. Obviously, the problem we've had in the past is he doesn't play. But yeah, I think Man United's opening couple of 2 or 3 fixtures are okay. So Martial at 7.5 million, I'm very interested in that. And then again, value up front. Arnautovic, I've kind of ummed and ahed about strikers, and I just think West Ham's fixtures are okay to open up, and he did really well. But as Joe was pointing out, I got no City attackers. So Aubameyang could be Aguero. That could be a thing. Or I'll wait for the Charity Shield and wait and see which midfielders are going to play. If Mahrez is going to play at 9 million, that could be a goer. We'll see. But this is where I'm at right now. It's going to change. I think I'll probably redistribute the funds a bit so that I've maybe got a more expensive midfielder and not kind of 3 mid-priced ones. Potentially, I even saw that Welbeck to Everton, possibly. I don't know about that with Tozen, but hey, we'll see if it happens. I think he's 6 million or 6.5. Don't think you need Ramsey and Aubameyang. Swap Tony to Ramsey in Gameweek 3. Yeah, but who else do I get, I suppose? Yeah, City attackers are going to be rotation-filled. It's going to be a rotation-filled City, you could say. No, that's bad. But maybe not at the start when players are away. How much do I think Alisson will cost? I would... If I had lots and lots of money to bet, I would bet all that money on 5.5 million. I think De Gea's only... Remember that a couple of seasons ago, they basically reduced the price of goalkeepers to make more people go for the premium options to about 5.5. And then De Gea had 2 really good seasons, so they bumped him up to 6. I don't think Alisson comes straight into the league for a team that kept around the same clean sheets as Man City last year and gets priced at 6 as well. So I don't think he's going to come in at 5, which is what Karius and Mignolet are. So I think it's going to be 5.5. I'd bet a lot of money on that, to be honest. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, that Danny Ward guy for Cardiff, I only put him in after the tweet from David Mundy today saying that he'd started again. So we'll see what happens. Jacob betting £50. It's 5.5. Yeah, it's not going to be 6. It's not. Basically, the way I look at it, it's definitely not going to be 6. It's not going to be 5. That's just too cheap for a... Bearing in mind, Liverpool only kept, I think it's 2 less clean sheets than Man United last year. And they've got Van Dijk and Robertson from the off this year. And now potentially a world-class keeper compared to Carriers. So there's no way they price him at 5. They don't price him at 6 the same as De Gea. So it just feel 5.5 is the default, I think. Shaqiri is a sub for the front 3. I think we'll have to look in pre-season, of course. I'm going to say that so many times. It's kind of ingrained in my brain. So we're going to say that a lot of times. But is there a chance he just plays? Fabinho and Keita being kind of the 2 of the more CMs and Shaqiri being the 3rd player that drives forward a bit more. A bit like, I guess, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain did. I know it's not quite the same because Shaqiri's probably a bit more attacking than they want for that position. But it could happen. But you're right, he does seem more like backup for Mane and Salah. Did I see the tweet by Anfield Express? I did not. Will half that team even start? They will start, I think. Maybe not Mendy, we'll see. They will start the first couple of game weeks. Whether they keep starting, I don't know. Keita, I'm telling you, watch him. Yeah, I'm not too interested in him. I know he's more box to box rather than defensive. But I don't know. Good luck to Danny Ward, who's off to Leicester City. Yeah, that's what I was chatting about earlier. He's gone to Leicester. Chelsea apparently looking for a keeper so they can sell Courtois. Schmeichel? Could happen. I mean, Keita should be in the Liverpool team. I'm not sure he should be in my team, though. Don't forget, by the way, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. And the like button on the stream. Be much appreciated. Let's get to 100. Let's get to 100 in the next 8 minutes. That'd be impressive. Another 47 likes in 8 minutes. Is that my actual team? That's my actual team. Maybe I should change the title of the stream actually to FPL Draft Update instead of Draft Updates. Does Draft make it sound like it's the actual draft game? I don't know. Tom, Candyland is absolutely a thing this season. It was playing all the way through the intro. But just for you, I'll put it back on because you are the king of the match of the day updates. And king, that thread you did of kind of things you may have missed was really awesome. So just for you, Candyland can go back on. I'd like to know who will start up for Southampton, Austin or Gabardini. I think we'd all like to know that. We don't know basically right now. I liked your first draft team over this one that you're showing. I mean, the drafts are going to change from, I would say week to week, but it's day to day probably. They're going to change. I wouldn't get too attached to any team right now. You can have a few players that are in every draft. For me, right now, it seems to be Mendy, Robertson, and Aubameyang and Ramsey. The four, and Salah, of course. So they're kind of 5 players that tend to be in most of my teams. I tend to look at Cedric as the 4.5 million defender option. And to be fair, Luke Shaw now, if I think he's going to start, will probably start in my team for 5 million. So but I wouldn't lock in too much. There's still so much that could change. Ward was the one leaking team news for Anfield Express. It could be. Could be. Oh, Jesus, we're on 92 likes now. Impressive. Surely Mendy won't play a game at one. We'll have to see, but he went on pre-season tour with them. So, I mean, if you're Benjamin Mendy, you've won the Premier League and World Cup without barely playing. You've signed for a new team and got injured straight away. He probably wants to get fit and back going again, as soon as he can. So he's already back on pre-season tour. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure that's what City said in their in the tweet. So yeah, I'm all for it right now. We'll see though. I'm sure Pep will give us an idea of who can and can't play. Hang on, he really was leaking team news. How do you know? Whoa, we're not having Luke Shaw question marks in caps. What's wrong with Luke Shaw? I don't know. I know people think I'm biased towards Man United. I'm generally when I pick a Man United player, I will let you know if I think he's just a good pick in general or I'm picking him because he's a Man United player. And for me, Luke Shaw, I think is a great option regardless of whether you're a Man United fan or not. He's good for bonus when he plays, potential for attacking returns, and a team that keeps clean sheets regularly every season. Okay, there is a chance he is fairly injury prone. Mourinho doesn't tend to like him, and there is a chance he gets kicked out once someone better's back. But if you'll possibly look at an early wild card anyway, I generally think he's a good option, Man United or not. So for me, he's not in my team just because he's Man United. Martial maybe a bit different. So, but like I'd always say, if I think if I've got someone because it's Man United. Like, I had Ibra for ages when no one else did. That was because of Man United. Sanchez last year. That's because I like Man United. So, I'll always say. But for me, Shaw is a good pick. If he's going to play, let's wait and see. Bailly will be a great way into the Man United back four. So, interestingly, Mourinho had there was kind of quotes done by the Man United journalists, and he kind of said he put Bailly and Luke Shaw in the same bracket as in, okay, some players are away from the World Cup. You've got Jones is away, Ashley Young is away, and obviously you got them Rashford, Pogba and Lukaku. He kind of said that gives a chance to, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was basically that gives a chance to the likes of Luke Shaw and Eric Bailly, as if Eric Bailly is now not first choice. So I don't know what happened last season, whether he thinks that, you know, he didn't want to come back from injury enough or he just didn't play enough. But he put Bailly in the same bracket as Shaw as if to say he's not guaranteed to play, which seems crazy to me because I feel like he's our best defender. And he should be the one we look to make first choice. So, yes, I agree, Bailly should play. 5.5 million is a good price. But I didn't like those quotes, to be honest. So, is Fabregas at 6 million a bargain? So, what we think with Sarri... Oh, I'm just going to keep getting these wrong. Sarri... is he going to play 4-3-3? You'd bet your house almost that it's going to be... I think it's Jorginho. Oh, why is all these new players? I'm just going to say Jorginho, like I said on the last video. And Kante as part of that 3. Obviously, Kante won't start the season, but... So those two plus one more. Now, it could be Fabregas, but are his legs going? He's quite... Well, he's not... He's older now. I can't remember his exact age, but he's obviously getting on a bit in footballing terms. They've got Barkley there, could play there. They could play someone like Pedro, maybe. And yes, as Jordan's pointing out, it looks like they're going to buy Golovin as well, who was awesome for Russia. So I'm not quite sure Fabregas is going to be the dream we think he might be, which is a shame because he created so many chances last year, even with limited minutes. So yeah, So Fabregas, yes, if he plays, is a bargain, 6.5 million. But as people in the chat are pointing out, he's probably not going to get a regular place on that side. You pick Martial, but you're not sure if he's going to be nailed or not. Unless we buy another player, another winger or forward, then I think he has to play. And even when Lukaku is back, will him and Sanchez be flanking them? Are we going to play 4-3-3? Hopefully. Hey Dean, how's it going? No worries. Wow, Allison is basically confirmed. Oh, I see. Good luck to Danny Ward, who's off to Leicester City. Couldn't thank you enough. Team news. That's interesting. I'd love it if it was him. If it was him, I'm putting him straight on my side, just for the thanks. Don't forget Fabinho sitting in front of the back four. I've even considered double Liverpool defence. Trust me, I'm fully aware about Liverpool. I think they look great. I'm going to say it. I know Man City got 100 odd... Was it 100 points? 106? I can't remember. They got 100 points, right, last year. They've reinforced with Mahrez. They've got a great squad anyway. Pep's got them playing great football. They absolutely destroyed teams last year. Scored bucket loads of goals. So don't get me wrong. It looks very good for them about retaining, right? But... second place, challenging for the title. I'm going to say Liverpool. They already had a pretty strong side last year. They did pretty well. I know they finished fourth in the end. I know they only finished one. I think it was 1 point better than the season before. But they've reinforced that midfield with Keita and Fabinho, which is awesome. They've got a really good defence that did awesomely once Van Dijk and Robertson were regulars. And now they've bought a world-class keeper. And as Liverpool fans have been telling me at work this week, they would say the last one was probably Pepe Reina. So it's been a long time. I'm saying Liverpool. I'm just saying it. I hate to say it. I think it would be a nightmare having to just say it. This is their year. I can say it because I'm not a Liverpool fan. I think their team's pretty scary. Their first 11 now. They've got Milner, Lallana, Shaqiri is back up now. Of course, they're not world-class players necessarily, but they're good backup options. And in FA Cup, League Cup competitions, that's what you need. So I think Liverpool are looking really good. So to go back about the point about kind of defence and stuff, I think Robertson is almost a nailed pick for me. And once Trent Alexander-Arnold or Lovren gets back into the side, once World Cup hangover is over, I can see, if you're not going to go for Firmino, I can honestly think Liverpool double defence could be brilliant for the whole season. So we'll see. Jossie, thanks very much for the 10k. Thanks again, everyone that subscribed. Keep going. I'm just checking what we're on now. 10,651. Thanks very much. Who are your solid picks that have no chance of leaving your team? So, the key to FPL is there shouldn't be anyone in your team that has no chance of leaving. Although Salah... Okay, Salah has no chance of leaving. Everyone else, we can discuss it. I don't want to lock the team in too much just yet. But Salah looks good. I really like Ramsey. The only thing that puts me off Ramsey and Aubameyang is the opening 2 fixtures. So, I don't know. But with someone like Aubameyang, he can score in those difficult fixtures. And Man City obviously missing a few players from the World Cup. But again, they've got such a good squad. Who will fill the gap if Liverpool fail to sign Fekir? I mean, someone like Lallana could probably play that role pretty well. So this isn't your actual team. I mean, this is my team right now, but no FPL manager has their team locked in this early on. I mean, I'd love to be able to sit here and say, this is my team. I'm going for it in 3 weeks' time, but it's not going to happen. So all I can give you is where I'm at right now. And I think I've got a team with some punts, but good early on punts. I've got good value spread, I'd say. Nice team structure and a solid defence. I think it's looking pretty good. Should we be targeting players who face the depleted Spurs? Are Spurs that bad? No, I don't think I would. It depends. I'd have to look at who they're playing. I wouldn't necessarily target players that are playing Spurs. But I might look at it as in... So hang on. Let me get the fixtures up on the other screen a sec. Or the FPL. Yeah, so for example, Man United play Leicester at home, Brighton away, Spurs at home. Okay, by game week 3, the World Cup players might be back. But you could look at that fixture and think, okay, Spurs at home is usually a tough one. It will still be tough, but probably nowhere near as tough. If they're going to be missing all those players. So, I wouldn't necessarily pick players just because they're playing Spurs. But I'd probably, in a roundabout way, do that by thinking, okay, it's not so bad that they're playing Spurs. If that makes sense. Can't remember a Game Week 1 team where all the team's players who had the best fixtures scored the best. Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of Game Week 1 is right now I'm looking at my team and thinking, do you know what? That could do the business in Game Week 1. It may be rubbish. Obviously, we've got pre-season to look at. We know what players can do. We've seen them do it before in previous seasons. We know that Alisson's probably going to be good for Arsenal. We know that Sarri's probably going to come and play 4-3-3. So we've got a lot of info. But we don't know what form's going to be like at the start of the season. That's the beauty of Game Week 1. And it's why I like... At least I did this last year when I went for... Obviously, Mkhitaryan turned into a good pick in the end for the first 5 or so weeks. But I put him in because I wanted like a... I liked him. I thought it was a fun pick, Man United pick. And in Game Week 1, you're not going to win or lose the game in Game Week 1. You're not going to win or lose FPL in Game Week 1. Obviously, it's really nice if you do really well, but... I don't know. What was my triple Palace before? So, obviously, I wasn't trying to get 4 Palace players in. I just forgot that I had one in. So, I had Tompkins in. And then I put Townsend in as a cheap midfielder. I had Sorloth in as a cheap forward as bench fodder. And then I tried to put Van Arnold in. So, I didn't even have Zaha, can you believe? Or Van Bissaka. Yeah, exactly. Game Week 1 is always difficult to predict. In some ways, I mean... The thing with FPL is you're basically you're trying to, I guess, reduce the odds of things going badly in some ways. So Yes, I don't know whether Liverpool will keep a clean sheet against West Ham. Yes, I don't know if Luke Shaw will keep one against Leicester. But I can look at Man United and think their defence is pretty solid. Yes, they're missing some players, but the team is still going to be pretty good. Leicester are probably going to be missing Vardy. They've lost Mahrez. Am I going to look at a clean sheet there? Yeah, I'd probably back a clean sheet. So if you don't get one, so be it. That's football. But you're basically just trying to cover yourself, I suppose. Or limit the amount of bad stuff that can happen. Something like that. Am I planning on doing an official draft in draft mode? We'll see. We'll see. The problem with draft is a lot of people just don't keep it up. So, I don't know. There's a money league going at work. I might see if there's space in that. Last season, the standout game it won was Mounier. We all know what happened then. Yeah, it's very hard not to knee-jerk in Game Week 2. Because obviously everyone's so active. People are really keen to play the game. And then obviously become not so keen very quickly. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, if Mounier scores a brace again, I don't think I'll be going for him again. There are some. Who else am I thinking about that I'm not? Richarlison. He tempts me. 6.5 million. Did very well last year at the start of the season. A lot of people kind of pointing out that I think he played like 18 months worth of football in a row without having a break, which is possibly why he tired out last season. But when he was playing at the start, he was doing really well. I know he was frustrating to own because he missed some really good chances. But the way I look at that sometimes is on another day he puts them away and we're laughing. Who do I think will win the league? I kind of talked about that, Shamigo. I think it's very hard to back against Man City given how good their team is. But I think Liverpool are strong. Liverpool have to challenge now. And put in a real challenge as well. So should Man United though, really. Richarlison performed well under Silva but fell off under Gracia. Is it Gracia? Garcia? I can't remember. Yeah, no, that could have something to do with it as well. Sigurdsson will be the key for Everton this season, and look out for Coleman. Yeah, Coleman's a tempter. There's so many defenders I would like to go with. I mean, really, I should be considering a 5 at the back. Really like that team, but I'd be amazed if you don't start with more City attack. Yeah, I'm sure I will. I'll probably wait and see what happens in the Charity Shield. Aguero, for example, instead of Aubameyang, could be one. Am I rotating keepers? I don't know about rotating keepers. I've always done it. I've always rotated keepers, apart from... I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was... Was it Pickford? I don't know. Recently enough, we've had a 4 million goalkeeper that played. So then I did 4.54. So I still think I rotated, actually. But I was actually pretty set on going for a 5 million keeper. Honestly, I think if Karius was the number 1 for Liverpool, I think I would have started with him. I had Leno in for a while at 5 million. I'm just not too sure about that. But I'm more tempted to go for set and forget, to be honest. But I don't really want to pay 5.5 or 6. So I mean, if Schmeichel... Oh yeah, Elliott, 4 million. Yeah, of course, thanks. Pickford, possibly 5 million. Pope, yeah, Pope came in after a few weeks because Heaton got injured. He wasn't 4 million though, he was 4.5. Why did I pick Tosin over Zaha? I really like... I think he had a pretty good end to the season. They've got Marco Silva there, which I think helps. I think hopefully Sigurdsson will play as the cam, number 10. And I really like Everton's opening fixtures. It's either him, Sigurdsson. Obviously, Sigurdsson's a bit more... Maybe Walcott, if he's going to play. I like Everton as an option. See what Marco Silva can do with them while they've got really good fixtures. Zaha an option, of course, but it looks like he might play wide, so I don't know if he's as effective as a forward playing wide. He could be. He had a pretty... Even the season before last, he had a pretty good season, so 7 million worth a shot. But I think Tosin is a bit of a... I don't want to say punt, but he's probably more of a punt than Zaha. Yeah, Leno at 5 million. I basically had Leno in, but I suddenly had a spare 1 million. And I thought, well, Lamella, I've already got 2 7.5 million mids. Maybe if Willian's going to start, I could possibly go for him. But I had 1 million spare, so I just upgraded Leno to De Gea for the sake of it, really. Morata, a great option with Sarri playing 4-3-3 and Giroud not available. I think he will be if he's going to start. There's a lot of rumours about Higuain flying about though. Be interested to see what Higuain will get priced at. Because my initial thought was 11. Because that's what Lukaku, Aguero and Aubameyang are. But I suppose Lukaku and Aguero, FPL have seen what they can do in the Premier League. Aubameyang, he's been priced at 11 because of how good his points per match were last season. So will they put Higuain at 11? I think they might go for 10.5, but we'll see. But yeah, if Morata's going to start the season, I think at 9 million, it's a pretty good option, to be honest. I think Chelsea's opening games are not too bad as well. Yeah, 10.5 would be my bet for Higuain, but I could see 11. Or 10, to be honest. How's it going, Felix? Who will start, Pope or Heaton? Honestly, no idea. No idea at this point. Why'd you use Ramsey over Mkhitaryan? So, I really like Ramsey. Last season, I can't remember the amount of times I said I'm going to get Ramsey in next time he's fit or whatever. I never got round to it. Obviously, he kept getting injured, which is a bit annoying. Obviously, a lot will depend on how those two get deployed under Emery. He's kind of said that Ramsey is part of his plans. Box to box, we've seen how well he could score last year. Even if he plays in like a 4-3-3 as part of the kind of back three, so to speak, he's still going to be getting in the box. Assist goal potential. Mkhitaryan, yes. Will he play? I don't know. You'd imagine yes, he will. I mean, they could go Lacazette, Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan, but then where does Ozil play? So I'm not 100% on how Arsenal are going to set up right now, which is why I've not decided between the two. But if they're both going to play, I'd probably go Ramsey. Yeah, Joe, that's basically the concern with having Ramsey and Aubameyang. Obviously, their first two fixtures aren't great, and if I'm looking to wildcard, why would I go for two players with not great fixtures? But I just got a feeling about Aubameyang especially. And Ramsey's fairly cheap. Like, if Ramsey's like 9.5, then I probably wouldn't do it because there's so much money. But Aubameyang, I just feel like he's going to score. I was really impressed with it. Aubameyang, we'll see what happens, but right now I'm thinking Aubameyang's my premium striker for the first little while. I've got not much interest in Kane, which worries me a bit considering he's so consistent. Lukaku, I'm just not going to go there, I don't think, at the start. And then Aguero could be in and out of the team, so we'll see. What do I think of Keita? I've not seen much about him. I know he's kind of, I said this already, I know he's kind of more box to box. Potential for attacking returns, I suppose, but if I'm taking up a Liverpool spot, I want to be sure. Because the beauty about Liverpool is, okay, maybe it won't be this season, but we've seen it in past seasons, they're pretty consistent with who plays. You know it's going to be Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk 100%, and then probably Lovren and Trent Alexander-Arnold. You know that it's going to be Salah, Firmino, Mane. That's not changing. So, do I want to use up a spot on Keita, who I'm not too sure how he's going to play? I probably wouldn't risk it at the start, to be honest. Why no Sané? Sané could be in there. I'm waiting on Man City. I want to see more from them. I want to know who's definitely going to start first. Do I think Arnautovic could be a risk? I mean, they've got a new manager. Maybe, but they don't really have a good enough striker, I don't think. And he did so well last year. It'd be a bit crazy for a manager to come in and kick him out, I think. Jesus, there's 427 people watching. We're still 3 weeks from FPL. That is crazy. I remember last year, I think we peaked the day before the season started at 600 viewers, and we're already on 425. Thank you very much. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button as well if you haven't already. Be much appreciated. And vote on the polls. Top right hand corner there's a little eye. Click that and it'll you can vote on the polls we've got. We're going to go through them in about 10 minutes time, I would say. Obviously, once again, thanks to the new patrons. If anyone is interested, link in the description below. Look how quickly we can move. Beautiful. That's production. You don't get that on ITV. And also, I moan less than people on ITV. Oh, wait, no. Mark Lawrenson, that's BBC. Anyway. I digress. We've only had 140 responses on the polls for the amount of people watching. That is poor. Get a vote in now. Come on. Allison is official. Yeah, we talked about that. Great purchase. Hate to say it. Is Lacazette being overlooked? Is he worth a shout? I'm going to say no. Yeah, I'm going to say no. I think the beauty about Aubameyang is he can play as the striker or he can play inside forward. I think Lacazette's probably not going to play as like a more inside forward winger type role. Now, if they both play together, yeah, he could be good. If he's nailed, he could be good. But when I think I'm spending 9.5, then suddenly I want to look at Firmino instead. And I actually think Firmino's probably being overlooked a bit, given how well he did last year and he's guaranteed to play. Now, obviously at the start of the season, World Cup, we'll have to see. I think if anything, Firmino's probably being a bit overlooked. But would I go for Lacazette at 9.5? Morata's 9, Firmino's 9.5? I don't think so. And for me, Aubameyang is probably going to be in my team, so I don't want two Arsenal strikers, especially with their opening fixtures. So Lacazette not for me, but if Aubameyang has that left kind of spot and Lacazette plays as the main striker, that could be a lethal combo. So we'll see. Firmino's at 38% ownership. Okay, well I'll just shut up because I'm talking rubbish. I've not seen it, but I think I don't tend to look at ownership this early on. I tend to look at what Twitter, basically the FPL community, Twitter community, their drafts that are put out. I've not seen too much Firmino recently. There was at the start, but it seems to have gone down a bit. But he's 30% owned. What do I know, I suppose? Is Salah essential? I'm tempted to do a video on that. Just answering that one question. I think he is. Basically. Which duo is better, Firmino and Deulofeu or Willian and Zaha Tosin? So on paper, the second option, I think. Because Deulofeu, I've had him in a few drafts, but I'm just never convinced by him. Just he blows hot and cold. I think he doesn't. I know he's only 5.5 million, so he doesn't need to consistently get points. But even for 5.5 million, I don't know if he's going to perform enough. When's the first Scoutcast? I don't know. When are we bringing Kane in? Maybe we don't bring Kane in. Just saying. On mobile, the poll button's a bit weird sometimes. Because on desktop, you can just hover over it. And it kind of shows up as soon as you go onto the stream. I think sometimes on mobile devices, you've got to click in that top right-hand corner. So you could try that. Can't guarantee it. So apologies if you can't see the polls. They're there, trust me. Kane's coming straight in. I mean, right now, and again, I think if Schmeichel comes into Chelsea, I think the goalkeeper debate gets very boring. I just can't. If anyone could if Schmeichel goes to Chelsea for 5, and obviously he'll be 5 million, FPL don't ever reprice players. But that's an interesting debate. Should they? Pre-season? Arguably, yes. Especially now that the transfer window's closed before FPL starts. Maybe they should. Maybe if Schmeichel goes to Chelsea, they should reprice him to 5.5. What do you think? But they're not going to do that, I don't think. So he'll be 5 million. So he's straight in. And to be honest, I forgot what I was talking about. What were we talking about before Schmeichel? Was it Kane? I can't even remember. I was answering a question and then I completely forgot. Brilliant. If someone can tell me what the hell I was going on about then before I started talking about Schmeichel at 5 million. No Kane for me this season. Points per match value is 7.3, which is pants that amount of money. The thing about Kane and after Man United. Okay, it was that. Okay. For me, 12.5 million is a lot of money, and usually I would pay it. But I've got Salah, so if Salah's performing, I don't think I can have Salah and Kane because Salah's a captain. If he performs like last season, he's a no-brainer captain. I can captain him in every fixture. I don't need another captain, so I probably wouldn't go for Kane. I'd probably opt for 1.5 million less and go for Aubameyang. I'm really big on Aubameyang this year. I think he's going to do really well. So that's basically who I'm going for instead. So it's easy to say right now, though, 3 weeks out, when I know he's probably not going to start the season, that I'm not going to buy Harry Kane. But I think there's good reason not to. And to be fair, last year, before we even knew about Salah, I was kind of discussing quite early on, even before the season, I think, that that Kane at some point would have to drop because he's a lot of money and possibly this potential better value by downgrading him. And okay, it took a long time to happen, and some people got stung about it when he got back-to-back hat-tricks. But by the end of the season, he wasn't a must-have, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be that this year. What do I think about the outrageous price of the Man United strip? Well, you don't have to buy that one. You can just buy the normal replica one, right? I mean, football shirts in general are a bit ridiculous. I've just seen Alex. I won't read out second names because I know, obviously, for good reason, people don't necessarily like it. But Alex has signed up to be a patron. So shout out now. I'll give you a proper shout out on the wonderfully designed Patreon screen next stream. So thanks very much for that. It is very much appreciated. And for anyone that is a patron already, league code will come before the start of the season. It probably won't be until I come back now. But don't panic, that'll come. And the Discord access, the great thing about Discord over Slack for me, for Patreon, is it automatically sets all that up for me. So you can just get straight in and start chatting. Which players do I suspect will fall quickly in value? I think that's pretty hard to predict, but I would say, as a general rule, anyone with really high ownership that's a cheap player, like a 4.5 or a 5, like midfielder or a forward, who people are possibly putting in as bench fodder, if they're not going to be like a Loftus-Cheek or someone like that, basically someone that doesn't perform, I would say they'll fall pretty quickly in value. And then people, like if I look at it right now, there's loads of players highly owned because either they did really well last year or because they played really well in the World Cup. Maguire, Trippier, for example, they will probably fall in price because people will go for them not knowing they're not going to play. And in Game Week 2, they'll have to sell them. They'll suddenly realise they're not playing because of the World Cup. They'll sell them. They'll probably come back. They'll be 0.1 million cheaper. So I think, yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, he could be 4.9 before we want to bring him in. Ridiculous. 4.9 for a potentially nailed Liverpool defender. That is, to me, that's almost essential. Just saying. Daniels, Neves. Daniels, we'll see about him. He's going to depend on how he starts the season. Neves potentially, although he took a penalty today, didn't he? He's on penalties, 5 million. Milivojevic all over again. A couple of worldies here or there, a few penalties. I already see a template for it. I mean, there will 100% be a template by Game Week 1. Always is. Got to spend 7.5 million on a starting midfielder. Who do you think? So, depends if we're talking short or long term. Short term, Martial could play up front. He's going to play in attack. So, Martial, if you like a bit of a punt at the start. Ramsey, if you're not necessarily early wildcarding, because he's got 2 tough fixtures, but could be really good value. And then Sigurdsson, an option, I think. Yeah, but I mentioned Bournemouth clean sheets on my latest defender video. So they got 6 clean sheets last year, 10 the season before that, which is decent enough, but only 7 the one before that. So they've not got a lot of form when it comes to keeping a lot of clean sheets. Daniels is going to be 32 in September. As someone commented on the video, I think it's a trap, Daniels, and I think if I had to go 4.5 million defenders, I think Cedric and Tompkins would be ahead of him for me. How confident am I that Mendy will start on a regular basis? So, we'll see at the start of the season whether he's going to start, because obviously World Cup exploits and stuff. Yes, he only played about 40 minutes, but we'll see if he starts. If he does, though, I think he's a week in, week out player. I don't know. I know Delph did really well, but Mendy is just such a different proposition. I just think he's going to start. It's so attacking. I know they've got Walker on the other side, but I don't know. I mean, if I could hazard a guess without trying to think too... I mean, I wouldn't be watching City fullbacks too much, but I would say possibly that when Mendy got injured, Delph came in. The Walker probably did more of the attacking out of the two. And I wonder with Walker being okay on the ball and stuff, whether... I mean, all City players have got to be good on the ball under Pep. I just wonder if Mendy might do more of the attacking. Be interested to see what happens to Sané with Mendy back, to be honest. Because I think a lot of the reason Sané came in was to provide width on that side. Van Arnold, 5.5 million, great. Baines and Coleman, 5.5 million, great. Potentially, we're going to get a 4.5 million centre-back for Everton. Now, I'd be a little surprised if they don't go and buy a new centre-back, if they've got the money there. I know they spent a lot of money last year, but Williams and Jagielka probably getting on a little bit. Obviously, Williams, when he moved to Everton, I thought he was going to be great after how good he was for Swansea. FPL-wise, just never materialised. So Keane's definitely going to start. Centre-back next to him, could it be one of those two? 4.5 million, could be a bargain. Especially Jagielka, he's got a bit of form for goal-scoring exploits. How old is he, though? I didn't actually look it up the other day. I just assume he's... yeah, he's 35. In fact, he's going to be 36 by the time the season starts. Not too convinced by that, to be honest. The beauty is, though, the transfer window is going to be shut before the season starts. That's so good from an FPL point of view. Does mean potentially... probably not less bargains, actually. I mean, Mason Holgate can maybe play there instead. 4.5 million. I don't know. I mean, there's experience, and then there's being 36 before the season starts. They invested in Keane. Yeah, I mean, Keane's definitely going to play, but he needs someone to play with him. Mason Holgate, Ashley Williams, 36-year-old Jagielka. We'll see. Yeah, Daniels. I'm labelling it nostalgia pick. He's labelled as a nostalgia pick. He's going to be the new Aguero. I don't think Daniels has the potential to have it bite me as much as Aguero did last year. Keep coming back to Coleman. Yeah, I keep coming back to the fact there's so many defenders I want. Honestly, I could have a back five of Mendy, Robertson, Shaw, Van Arnold, and Coleman, and still probably want more. Any good form lead defender options? The only one that I've kind of heard or read about this potential for start is the guy I've got there, Van Bissaka, whose name I'm probably butchering every time I have to mention him. The decent third cheap striker is a myth. Go 4.5 bench fodder. So one cheap striker I've had in a few drafts is Chris Wood at Burnley. I think he could do pretty well if he keeps starting. The only thing with him is that he's going to be possibly more match fit because he'll have started the season early because of Europa League, but at the same time he could get rested early on. We saw that last year with Salah, for example. Salah played the first game and then got rested in the second because of getting into Champions League. Football League, which your viewers can join? I do. Thanks for asking, Game Theory. In the description below, there is lots of info. One bit of which is the league code. For anyone who doesn't know, it's 662-45313. I'll put it in the chat as well. So yeah, make sure to do that. That's the public one. There's also a Patreon only one which will be coming soon. So if you're interested in that, check out the Patreon page, which is also linked in the description below. Other than that, I'm going to do the polls as soon as I refresh. Should have like waiting music while I refresh. You know, like that rubbish waiting music you get on the phone. You don't have any 10 million plus players. Ooh, you're going full value. Is it the same code? No, it's a different code. You shouldn't have auto-joined because I didn't renew the league. And in fact, actually, I have a question before I do the polls. For anyone that's not watched before, I basically say that we're going to go through the polls and then I talk about 5 different things and then actually do them. Does anyone know how I get an auto-join league code? I see people tweet out a URL with, here's how you can auto-join, you just click this, but I don't know how they do it. I can't work it out. Maybe I could just use theirs with my league number or something. Does that work? Maybe that works. Anyway. Oh, sugar, I forgot I've been playing Candyland ever since Tom asked for it. Okay, polls. I'm doing it. No more distractions. Why would Emerson start to have Alonso? So Alonso, potentially not defensively sound. A lot of people think. We'll see what Sarri thinks. Ryan Brazel, 4.99. Can you give me feedback on my team? I didn't do on Twitter, please. Reply in your own time. I'll try and take a look. In general, to be honest, though, I don't tend to respond to too many rate my teams publicly on Twitter right now because there's so much up in the air. And I don't do them via DM because I don't like doing it privately. And plus, I get sent so many. But we'll see. Thanks very much for the donation, much appreciated. I would say as well, people using Super Chat, it's great if you want to use it, but again, there's probably more value in Patreon, but obviously it is monthly subscription, so just be careful of that. Polls. Plus, Ryan, which... You're going to have to tell me which one is you. Oh, no, I see your name. Alright. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm just doing the polls now before I do my own heading. So current formation. So 3-4-3 is still the top. Probably unsurprisingly. 47%. Then 4 at the back is 26%. So it's actually beating 3-5-2. I find that surprising, but maybe not actually with all the tweets I've seen. Then 22% on 3-5-2 and 5 at the back, only 4%. So 3-4-3 winning. Although, to be honest, 47%, I'd probably expect it to be a little bit higher. And then 4 at the back, 26%. Be interested to see how much that falls. How many 10 million plus players are you starting with? So, 2, 62%. That makes sense. Salah plus 1 more. 3, 18%. Only 1 is 17%. Only 1% of you are starting with none. I know there was a guy in chat a minute ago, I think it was Jamie, saying he was starting with none, and then 4 or more, just 1 person apparently. Which goalkeeper option? So 4.5 million, 4.5 million goalies rotating is the most popular. I think that's usually the most popular option going into the season. 42%, and then 22% are doing the 5.5 million set and forget. I'm again a little bit surprised that's so high. So that would be the likes of Edison at Man City or Courtois at Chelsea, potentially Alisson at Liverpool. We'll see what he comes in at. Then 5 million set and forget, 14%. So that's probably the bracket I'm in right now. David De Gea, 13%. And then 4.5 million set and forget. So that would probably be 4.5 million plus a 4. Only 7%. Bearing in mind that 4.5 million keepers usually do pretty well. Look how good Fabianski did last year. Will you use your wild card early? So 51% of you think you're going to use it between game week 5 and 8. So not using it straight away in game week 4, which a lot of people are saying, but not holding on to it for too long. 24% later than game week 8, and only 23% by game week 4. So that's including game week 4. I should have probably said that. But that is the least favourite option right now. Maybe surprisingly. How many premium defenders? So that's 6 million plus defenders, not 5.5. You can argue whether you think 5.5 is premium or not. 43% going for 1, 32% going for 2. So that's the bracket I'm in right now, with Mendy and Robertson. 14% going with none, so going cheap defence. That's what I did last year. Did okay. I think my Spurs defenders were like 5 million. Got like 2 clean sheets in the first 4 games. Was okay. 7% going for 3 and 1% going for 4 plus. So there you're kind of 4 or 5 at the back formation. So good luck to those people.